It's Monday, February 16th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Neighbors are startled by the discovery of a woman's body in Moncton. A legend in the music industry brings attention to Halifax potholes.
A chance of flurries the next few days, with temperatures becoming a bit colder by the end of the week.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. A Moncton man made a sad and unsettling discovery yesterday, finding a woman's body in a bin near his home. The RCMP is now investigating the death as suspicious. CTV's Derek Haggett reports.
A horrible discovery at the very end of a Moncton street has left this neighborhood shaken.
So when things like this happens, it rattles a whole community.
The body of a woman was found inside a garbage bin at the end of High Street early yesterday afternoon. Police are treating the sudden death as suspicious.
The officer inspected the garbage can and pulled the woman out to check to see if she had any vitals, and she was deceased.
Graham Hill's roommate noticed the garbage bin right outside his door and thought it seemed odd.
He was disturbed because he went to see what it was, and when he looked in, he saw an arm. He called 911 and ran in to get me because he wanted to talk to somebody. He didn't want to go through that on his own.
Her age and identity are not known, and no arrests have been made as of yet.
It's just getting crazy. Like, I mean, the town, the city, they have to do something, you know? It's between the drugs and violence, it's just getting out of hand.
The RCMP also conducted an operation a few blocks away early this morning in connection with the suspicious death investigation.
It's disturbing. We get a lot of homeless people around this area, so at the end of the road, we often get shopping carts and garbage that's been gone through, and that's what my roommate thought he had seen.
New Brunswick's RCMP Major Crime Unit is investigating. Police say an autopsy has been scheduled to confirm the woman's identity and to determine her exact cause of death. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
We've posted Derek's interview with the neighbor, and you can see that at our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. The hunt for an escaped prisoner continues in New Brunswick tonight. RCMP still looking for a 35-year-old man who fled the Regional Correctional Center in Shediac on Friday. He allegedly jumped over a fence. At the time, police issued an alert for locals to be on the lookout. Todd John Lewis was previously charged with weapons offenses, and no one should approach him if spotted. He's described, as you can see there, as 5'7", 146 pounds. He might be in the greater Moncton area. The Halifax Forum has been a fixture of the city's north end for well over a century, and if one group has its way, it will be around a lot longer. It wants City Hall to redevelop the arena despite a growing price tag. But as CTV's Jesse Thomas tells us, the mayor argues a more affordable plan is needed.
Paul Card has seen a lot of events at the Halifax Forum. He's also seen half a dozen reports on how the historic arena can be redeveloped, but its future is up in the air.
The idea that the project that's well underway, that you'd now decide to cancel it and tear the facility down and replace it with high-rises seems a bit silly to me.
The first hockey game played here was in 1927. The Forum has since expanded to 2 rinks with a pair of community halls. It's well used, and the Community Association wants it redeveloped, calling it essential.
There's over 400,000 people that visit this facility for non-ice-related events every single year, be that graduations, flea markets, farmers markets, bingo.
Mayor Andy Fillmore calls the $125 million development price tag unaffordable right now. The original cost estimates in 2014 were around $40 million. Speaking to a room of commercial property owners last month, the mayor said the redevelopment plan should be scrapped, saying there's a better place for a twin pad arena, but he won't say where.
So there is a way, if we let go of the Forum, that we leverage the value of that land to build a 2-pad or even a 3-pad elsewhere at a lower cost because it's new construction. And I got a ballpark estimate from a builder who builds these things yesterday that a 2-pad, depending on the bells and whistles, would be between 40 and 45 million.
The community association says the most recent staff report on the forum hasn't been made public. It was moved to an in-camera discussion in December, and CARD wants that report made public.
So the public can't even read the report the mayor is talking about and suggesting that the forum is overpriced.
Budget discussions at council resume this week. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
All 3 maritime provinces are carrying massive deficits. On the eve of a budget update, the situation in New Brunswick is so dire, it's sparking concerns for the future of jobs and services. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
10 years ago. The Susan Holt government will unveil its third quarter financial results tomorrow, and they're more anticipated than usual, not in a good way. The opposition believes the deficit is over $1 billion, which has some very nervous.
When they visit museums, what you're actually visiting is your history. It's the memories of the people that have come before us and who created this beautiful province that we call home. And those collective memories are at risk.
2 weeks ago, the province released possible ways to save or make more money in order to combat the rising debt. They asked for input through an online survey. Association Heritage New Brunswick has read between the lines of that survey, concerned museums are on the chopping block.
It sets up the question about heritage in a way that makes people think they have to choose between healthcare and heritage or healthcare and museums. You know, what's more important, hospital beds or funding heritage? And that's a very unfair way of asking a question.
She also doesn't feel the whole government has given people enough time. New Brunswickers have until Friday to submit their input. Other nonprofits are worried too. The Federation of Woodlawn Owners sent out an email asking members for their support when answering the survey. During an interview with CTV Atlantic anchor Todd Battis, former Premier Sean Graham warned what the whole government can't do is nothing.
When we made cuts under our budget, we had to freeze salaries, but we also had to cut services. And if you recall, you know, we tried to cut the ferry services that were being offered under the Department of Transportation, and everyone was up in arms at that time across New Brunswick.
The actual budget will be tabled 1 month from tomorrow. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
The original snowbird has weighed in on one of the woes of a Canadian winter. Anne Murray posted on social media she's ready to fill Halifax potholes, which seem to have sprung up, well, just about everywhere. Here's CTV's Jonathan McGuinness.
It takes some skillful driving to avoid some of the potholes around Halifax.
Well, you have to keep your eyes open lest you go into a hole.
It's only mid-February. Crumbling roads are typically more of an issue in the spring. Mechanic Bill Hope says he's getting more calls earlier in the year.
Daily. There's a daily thing. This was a rear wheel.
Hope sees a wide range of damaged vehicles coming into his shop.
Flat tires are a big thing. Then you'll get bent control arms, broken struts, broken strut mounts.
And you know things must be bad on the roads when Nova Scotia music legend Anne Murray takes to social media, offering to fix the city's pothole problems. In a Facebook message posted Sunday, Murray says, "I'm going to get some sand for my car so I can start filling the potholes in the streets of Halifax." Motorist Carolyn Mont sympathizes with road repair workers.
I don't know enough about it to know how they can do anything right now with the snowplows coming by. Ice in the holes makes them bigger. It's really challenging.
Some of those streets are scheduled for temporary repairs starting Tuesday. City crews will be filling holes on Roby, Agricola, Barrington, and North Streets. Cold patching is a Band-Aid approach used until more permanent work can be done when the pavement is warmer. Until then, Bill Hope has some words of advice.
Slow down. Don't drive after dark too much, unless you have awful good headlights.
City officials say the patching work will take place outside of peak times, but they are telling motorists to expect some delays and to take alternate routes until this work is finished on Friday. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Halifax.
There's a live look at Ski Wentworth in the Wentworth Valley of Nova Scotia, where it's currently -3. Some people taking advantage of Heritage Day in the province to get a day of skiing in. Pretty good conditions as we bring in Kaylin Mitchell for our first look at the forecast. The snow's certainly been good.
I have heard from a couple people who have gone skiing, going back into last week and this weekend. Now, of course, we just saw here on Heritage Day, taking advantage of that. The hills have been in really good shape. People have been having a good time. Yep, weather's been cooperating too. A little bit of fresh snow came down for parts of the Maritime, so we went through the weekend. This was with initially a very weak low pressure system, made its way out of Quebec and spun up a little bit as it got towards the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. For the bulk of the region, it brought in some snowfall amounts that basically ranged from trace up to around a couple of centimeters. There were a few areas that picked up some pockets of 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Doyleville in the north of New Brunswick reported 9 centimeters of snow there. Metagan River reported 8 centimeters of snow in the southwest. It was just trace, basically flurries in around the Halifax area. But then moving further towards the east, parts of Guysborough County picked up 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Parts of Prince Edward Island, same thing. In areas of Cape Breton, in some cases, over 10 centimeters, including Sydney, which reported about 14. Just look at temperatures for this evening. They're on the chilly side, mostly now in the range of around -4 to 0, -6 at Edmundston. Winds out there are pretty light, a little bit variable in direction, but will be mostly from the east and northeast as we make our way through tonight. Now, there is some cloud cover around the region. There'll continue to be some cloudiness for parts of the Maritime as we move through the night, especially around Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia, and parts of the east of New Brunswick. Partly cloudy conditions elsewhere. So you will be looking for breaks in the cloud cover if you're going to be doing some night sky viewing. It's a new moon tonight, so it's basically not there. Jupiter will be at its highest point in the night sky around 9:30 p.m. You can spot that planet high above the southern horizon. The aurora is unlikely to be observed tonight. If you are a very early riser, there's a 3-minute pass from the International Space Station Tuesday morning at 5:18 from the east to the northeast. It's about 3 minutes long, should rise fairly high in the sky. But, Todd, there is going to be some cloud cover around for the start of the day for tomorrow. I'll have more of tomorrow's forecast, of course, and the week ahead when I'm back a little bit later on.
All right, we will see you later in the show for that. Nova Scotia has lost one of its most committed activists. Eddie Carvery spent decades protesting and promoting the plight of Africville. He long maintained a vigil at the site of the former African Nova Scotian community. He recently died. CTV's Stephanie Seekos takes a look at his life.
We didn't have a choice. They made the decision for us.
For more than 5 decades, Eddie Carvery fought by any means necessary to protect Africville. The historic black community where he was born and raised was bulldozed by the city of Halifax in the 1960s in the name of urban renewal. His protest for reparations began in 1970 and would last the rest of his life.
I've got no intention on leaving Africville. I'm fighting an injustice that occurred in Africville to my people.
Carvery passed away over the weekend at the age of 79. His fight is not being forgotten.
A good part of his legacy is how we live on with that and how we carry it forward. And we carry his memory forward as a reminder of the past of Africville, but also the adversity of the community and the perseverance.
At times, Carvery lived in a tent at Seaview Park, now called Africville Park, refusing to leave. In recent decades, it was a trailer on the property that became a symbol of his fight.
Where the replica church is today, that was his protest site.
Journalist John Tatry met Carvery at the Africville reunion in 2008.
He was driven out of this park so many times by the city, by other organizations, by racist people, firebombed, shot, everything, and he would never ever back down. He never quit. He believed in Africville more than he believed in himself.
Tatry would go on to write Carvery's biography.
We became great friends. He came to my wedding. And I would see him, throughout the years. I would stop by all the time to check in on him. We did a lot of school visits, too, especially in the first few years, and those were always amazing.
In the decades since Africville was destroyed, the city has offered an apology, and the area has become a National Historic Site and has been recognized by UNESCO.
The big question today is that, without his contributions, you might ask the question, will we be this knowledgeable about the story of Africville, some years later?
While Carvery did not see the justice he had hoped in his lifetime, his words will carry on.
It ain't about me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It's about my culture.
Tonight, Eddie Carvery's trailer sits quiet here in its place at Africville Park. It's unclear what's going to happen to it, but author and friend John Tatry hopes to see it preserved. Todd.
I'm sure many others will too. Stephanie Seekos at the Africville site on the Bedford Basin in Halifax. Thank you. A report out of Prince Edward Island has looked at the issue of sexual misconduct in schools by staff members and how complaints are being handled. A review found the problem is not rampant, but as CTV's Maria Saru explains, it flagged gaps in the system.
Sliding a report across his desk, PEI's Education Minister Robin Croucher has been poring over these pages. It's a detailed review into how schools across the province handle complaints about staff sexual misconduct. And its findings, he says, should reassure parents.
Our system is not broken. Our system is working. Are there areas where we can improve? Absolutely.
In the review, former Chief Justice David Jenkins writes 40 separate reports or allegations of sexual misconduct were identified during the 2023 to 2025 period. In the spring of last year, former substitute teacher Matthew Allen Craswell pleaded guilty to sexually touching a student in a classroom at Stratford's Glen Stewart Primary. Last week, Craswell again pleaded guilty to a similar incident that occurred at this school behind me, West Kent Elementary in Charlottetown. In both cases, administrators did not immediately report parents' complaints to police or child protection services. Jenkins writes, schools handled the incidents properly and professionally. Based on all they knew at the time, they didn't suspect Craswell's acts were sexual in nature. But information gained during later interviews and Craswell's subsequent revelations of malicious intent changed the picture. The president of PEI's Home and School Federation says it's important to catch cases early.
We really need robust frameworks to address not only adult-on-student harm, but student-on-student harm as well.
And Croucher says some of the report's recommendations are in progress or already in place.
We didn't wait for this report to come to my desk.
Croucher adds a central tracking system is coming by April to log complaints and interventions across the province's schools. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
80 years ago this month, a group of intrepid and no doubt nervous young women set sail from Liverpool, England to Halifax. That marked the beginning of one of the most unprecedented immigrant waves to hit Canadian shores. CTV's Nick Moore takes us to a new exhibit honoring Canada's war brides.
About 1,800 European war brides arrived in New Brunswick during the Second World War, most in 1946, but Doreen Lawrence arrived a bit earlier in August 1945.
We went to Newfoundland first because we dropped off a regiment from Newfoundland and then came on to Halifax the next day. We stayed in Halifax overnight at a Red Cross hospital. Red Cross was very good to us. Everything was so well organized.
Lawrence was a guest of honor this afternoon at the official opening of a new exhibit honoring war brides at the New Brunswick Military History Museum at 5th Canadian Division Support Base, Gagetown.
As my brother says, I'm a proper Canadian now.
It's a culmination of almost, 40 years of work that I've been involved with.
Melinda Jarrett is a nationally renowned expert on Canadian war brides and is the exhibit's curator, which also celebrates a strong bond that war brides formed in the years after their arrival.
Once those ladies got here to New Brunswick, they embarked on a new life. They started families, and their ultimate contribution to Canada, I think, is that they became good Canadian citizens. It's a story of passion, romance, love.
Today I have 3 of my 2 daughters here, and I have 3 grandchildren. So I'm very proud to have them here with me.
Recognizing a remarkable part of the Second World War. Nick Moore, CTV News, 5th Canadian Division Support Base, Gagetown.
Remarkable indeed. Thank you, Nick. Time for our first break on this holiday Monday. Still to come, partly cloudy and cold night for most of us. Kaylin will have the full forecast. But next, comfort from the cold.
It's getting till negative 20, 25 during the night.
Ukrainians living in the Maritimes try to ease a very harsh winter back home. That's when CTV News at 6 continues. It's been nearly 4 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Airstrikes on the country's energy sector have left millions without heat or power during what's become a brutally cold winter. Ukrainians in the Maritimes are raising money to help. Here's CTV's Paul Hollingsworth.
Marina Horovitz and Mariana Kovton are worried non-stop about the family members they left behind when they fled Ukraine more than 3 years ago.
How can we repair something while Putin and Russia keeps bombing us?
Russian drones and missiles targeting the power sector have caused massive power outages. More than 1 million homes do not have heat during one of the coldest winters in years.
It's getting till negative 20-25 during the night.
Experts say conditions are getting worse each day, especially in Ukraine's major cities.
Imagine a city like Ottawa or Calgary just being completely in the dark in the depths of winter.
Ukrainians living in Canada are trying to help by joining the Warmth for Ukraine fundraising campaign.
To buy generators and batteries for families and hospitals and schools in Ukraine.
It's also a chance to increase awareness about the continued suffering as the war rages on.
Support them inside Canada, support them outside of Canada in Ukraine, because people need your help.
The big question going forward is, will these efforts work? Can a global campaign lead to an improvement in energy infrastructure in Ukraine?
Yes, if those movements of solidarity actually lead to partnership down the road.
Robert Hewish says if the war ends, Ukraine's power grid could be upgraded quickly.
It becomes more difficult to try to replace or try to override an existing working system. But if the system's pummeled, then it leaves opportunity for starting from scratch.
Opportunities that include implementing solar technology.
We are barely surviving such a harsh winter.
At a time when the people in Ukraine desperately need power, heat, and help. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Still to come tonight, just a few flurries to watch for Tuesday. Kaylin has the details on the full maritime forecast after this commercial break. Cloudy skies over a fresh coat of snow on the Bredor Lakes at East Bay, Cape Breton, this afternoon.
Yeah, so the Sunday snowfall, as we talked about earlier, was very hit and miss around the Maritimes. One of the areas where it did hit, though, parts of Cape Breton.
All right.
And yeah, picked up some snowfall amounts here and there across parts of the island that were in excess of 10 centimeters. And that low pressure system then rolled off towards the northeast of us. We're going to take a look at some weather conditions across the country. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about some very mild temperatures in
winter's
parts.
coming back.
Yes, that's right. It is the return of winter for parts of Western Canada, specifically into the prairies, where there are now a series of snowfall warnings in effect through parts of Alberta and into areas of Saskatchewan. You can see Edmonton's temperature right now sitting around -6, Saskatoon at -9. Here is an outlook into that snow in the west for a couple of cities, and you can see that really around the Edmonton area, they could be picking up between 20 and 30 centimeters of snow. There's snowfall warnings out there right now calling for some totals 15 to 25 centimeters and 15 to 25 centimeters extending towards the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan and then into that province, and even Saskatoon, you know, over the next 48 hours could pick up a significant amount of snow there. So they're looking at some very snowy conditions in parts of the west, specifically Alberta and Saskatchewan over the next 36 to 48 hours. Off towards the east we go. It's very mild in southern Ontario. We've got Windsor right now seeing some sunshine and 9 degrees. Toronto is sitting at 2. And it's -1 for Ottawa and Montreal, as well as Fredericton. -2 at Halifax and Charlottetown this hour. And for St. John's and Newfoundland. In Labrador right now, it's -6 at Labrador City. Snow falling. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, partly cloudy conditions and sitting at -6. Calotte, colder, -10 and reporting some snow. Taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitation tonight for the Maritimes, partly cloudy conditions. Cloudiest for most of the night around eastern areas of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and the north and east of Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton. And underneath that cloud cover, a low chance of a few flurries or a little bit of patchy freezing drizzle. Fairly cloudy start to the day for tomorrow, but the cloud cover breaking up to a mix of sun and cloud in western Nova Scotia, central and southern areas of New Brunswick, remaining cloudier for Prince Edward Island with a low chance of flurries. Same thing goes for Cape Breton, and also cloudy with flurries developing, especially moving late in the day for communities in the north of New Brunswick. Brunswick, and that round of flurries is expected to become more widespread for the Maritimes as we move through Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, and into Wednesday morning, and in some cases may bring in some local snowfall totals of up to around a few centimeters. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow are mostly going to be out of the northeast for Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, a few gusts between 20 and 40, and becoming southeast in the afternoon for the province of New Brunswick, and mostly sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight for most of the Maritimes, falling several degrees below the freezing mark, some down into the minus teens. Amherst to the north of Nova Scotia down to around minus 12 tonight, minus 12 for Fredericton as well as Woodstock in that province. Campbellton down to minus 13, minus 6 at Charlottetown and Summerside. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick between minus 2 and plus 1, with central and southern parts of the province with high temperatures mostly between minus 1 and plus 2. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures between 0 and minus 2, mostly cloudy, low chance of flurry throughout the day. In the east of Nova Scotia, it's isolated flurries as well, with most of the high temperatures between minus 1 and plus 1. Northern and central parts of the province with high temperatures between minus 1 and 2 degrees, mostly near 2 on the Atlantic coastline, including Halifax, Upper Tantallon, Chester, and Lunenburg. Near 2 for Shelburne for tomorrow, 1 for Yarmouth, and in the Annapolis Valley, Kentville, Wolfville area, around 2 degrees, and Middleton with a high of 2 as well. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, we've got a mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday. Sunshine, temperatures get a little bit colder through the end of the week. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud. May need to watch the Sunday-Monday period for the Maritimes for maybe a more widespread, possibly significant snowfall. That will be with a low-pressure system developing and moving up off the eastern seaboard of the United States. So that's the next period of time I've got my eyes on in the extended forecast here. For Nova Scotia, it's flurries in the forecast for Wednesday, chance of flurries on Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud Friday into Saturday, and then the potential for that snow, that Sunday-Monday time frame. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, we've got flurries over the next couple of days, or at least chance of flurries, and a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures a little bit colder Friday and Saturday, chance of flurries on Sunday. Snow possible on the Monday. Todd.
Okay, snow back on Mondays. We'll talk to you later in the show. Coming up next, we'll discuss whether we should be training more future Olympians in the Maritimes. And on the scene, Hollywood loses a legend. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back on this Family, Heritage, or Islander Day, depending on where you are. A Maritimer has become Canada's first triple medalist at the Winter Games in Italy. Courtney Sereau of Moncton earned the title today after winning silver in the 1,000-meter short track speed skating race. She has 2 other medals, a bronze in the 500-meter and a silver in the mixed relay. And Sereau can pick up yet another medal in the 3,000-meter team race that happens in a few days' time. She's the product of what has become an elite short track speed skating program in New Brunswick. Now, Sereau is only one of a handful of Maritimers wearing the maple leaf in Italy. And to discuss that, we're joined by Phil Curry. Phil, of course, is a longtime head of Atlantic University Sport. He can now simply enjoy as a fan. Good to see you, Phil. And are you watching the games?
Good to see you as well, Todd. Yes, I've been watching some, mostly hockey, but I've been watching some. But I did see Courtney skate. Amazing athlete. Absolutely.
The majority of maritime Olympians are, of course, hockey players. Granted, we have a smaller population, but why don't we have more Winter Olympians from this region?
Well, it's a great question, but, I think there's some realism attached to it as well. Like, when you think of winter sports and the actual facilities that we have here in Atlantic Canada to support the development of those student athletes in winter sports, that's a bit of a challenge for us. There's no question. Like when it comes to hockey, obviously that's a great development step, I guess, to the Olympics. Going to professional situation there with professional hockey is certainly a big step and a really great pathway to the Olympics. When you look at athletes like Courtney, we don't have I don't think we have a lot of courses around here for speed skating, but we do have a lot of arenas, which helps. And certainly, in any of the ice sports, we have lots of facilities that can help develop athletes towards the Olympics. I think, just the nature of where we're at, if we look at Alpine, for example, we don't have the mountains that we need to develop that kind of talent. They'd have to go elsewhere, either into Quebec or out west to get the training that they needed to perform at a high level in those sports. So we're somewhat limited, but when you look at the athletes that we do have at the Olympics, they're very high level. They're some of the best in the world, and we have to work with what we have, I guess, is the best when it comes to the Olympics.
Should we be more focused perhaps on summer games? Does that make more sense given our geography and the lack of things like mountains and the benefit of lakes and oceans?
Well, I think, and certainly if we stay on the winter side for a second, if we maintain the facilities and maintain the training and maintain the coaching abilities here in Atlantic Canada for the sports that we can compete in the Winter Olympics, maybe we can grow it. But certainly on the summer side, I think there's lots more opportunity for Olympic athletes to participate in the Olympics for sure.
Is it a matter of, you mentioned facilities a couple of times, and there are a few sports that we can certainly facilitate with what we have. In terms of coaching, is it and I mentioned the speed skating program, the short track in New Brunswick, that seems to be moving along quite strongly. Is it a matter of trying to lure coaches here, providing them with something? How does something like that get going?
Well, I would say yes. To have the right coaching talent in the region is important. One thing that we do have that's I think an important note to make in reference to this conversation, Todd, is the Canadian Sport Institute Atlantic. Their mandate, they have a mandate for Olympic training, and really they're the outreach for the Own the Podium program for Olympians. So there is a direct connection, not only through Canadian Sport Institute Atlantic. There is a direct connection to Own the Podium, whether that's funding, training, and technical leadership. So in terms of developing coaches, there's a huge mandate there. So we do have some resources in Atlantic Canada that are important. And I don't know if you know Ken Bagnall or not, but he does a fantastic job in bringing all the athletic communities together and make people aware of the fact that this training and this opportunity is there for athletes, but also for coaches.
Okay. In the minute I've got left, look, you spent many years in university sport. What role do maritime universities have to play? We saw the closing of the swimming pool at Acadia. Obviously, that affected the swimming team. Other schools have dropped sports over the years, mainly because of costs, which certainly is fair. But what role do the universities have in this?
Well, it's an important question, I believe, Todd. The universities, athletic departments in the universities really don't have a mandate to develop Olympians, that's for sure. There are funding issues and resource issues certainly within the institutions in Atlantic Canada. I'm hoping they're going to improve in the next couple of years. But I think there's a role, when it comes to partnering with Sport Institute at Atlantic, and there is a partnership with all 11 schools with the Institute here in Atlantic Canada, that we maintain that relationship. And when we can identify, or the universities can identify, university athletic departments can identify real potential for the Olympics, then that gets passed on, and they develop from there through their university involvement.
Phil Curry, thank you very much. We appreciate your expertise. Lots of hockey still going on at the games. We'll let you get back to that.
Well, it's going to be a good afternoon for the women here, I think.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you so much.
We'll make this a CTV web poll tonight. Simple question. Do you think government should spend more to help produce more elite athletes in the Maritimes? Your options are yes, I'd like to see more top athletes in the region, or no, we have bigger priorities right now. So why not race over to the website and cast your vote? We'll be right back.
February is Black History Month. recognizing Sam Langford. Sam Langford, born in 1883 in Weymouth Falls, Nova Scotia, was a boxing legend who held multiple world championship titles and fought over 300 bouts. Denied championship opportunities because of racism, his skill and courage earned him lasting international respect.
In our health report tonight, how a certain type of brain training appears to prevent or even delay dementia. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in the Monday edition of The Lifeline.
Speed training your brain may lessen the risk of Alzheimer's and other dementias. According to new research from a 20-year study, this speed training appears to prevent or delay dementia by some 25% in people older than age 65. This speed training was in the form of an interactive computer game that tested the ability to recognize two separate images in faster and faster sequences. Meantime, an October study also found speed training may preserve a neurotransmitter that makes the brain more awake, focused, and attentive. While researchers work out the answers, experts say cognitive training is just one part of the journey toward improving brain health. Finally, even small amounts of daily movement can have a big impact on your health. Researchers looked at what happens when people move just a little more each day. Data was analyzed from studies that followed tens of thousands of people in the U.S., Norway, Sweden, and the UK. The research found that adding just 5 minutes of moderate to vigorous daily activity could prevent up to 10% of all deaths across the population. Reducing daily sitting time by 30 minutes a day was also shown to prevent up to about 7% of deaths for some. The findings reinforce other research that makes a strong link between physical activity and longer life. You can get more information about the study in the journal The Lancet. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
Many of you may remember Robert Duvall starred in the film The Scarlet Letter that was produced in Shelburne, Nova Scotia. Duvall, who earned a lasting place in movie history with roles in The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and To Kill a Mockingbird, has died. According to a statement from his family, the Oscar winner passed away yesterday. NBC's Mark Barger has a look back at his life and career.
Robert Duvall was an actor's actor.
You know, if they're going to hire me, then let me do what I want to do. If not, hire somebody else.
From The Godfather.
They shot Sonny on the causeway.
To Apocalypse Now.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
To the TV miniseries Lonesome Dove.
Well, you ain't no more a cattleman than I am.
Duvall's versatility shown in more than 140 films and TV shows over a 6-decade career, including the brief but memorable role of Boo Radley in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Major Burns.
Duvall also played Major Frank Burns in the original film version of MASH.
What do you mean you want that show? It's a news show. It's not your department.
A detestable TV executive in Network.
But you are Marine kids and can chew nails while other kids are sucking cotton candy.
And a warrior without a war in The Great Santini. That performance earned one of Duvall's 6 Oscar nominations for Best Actor. His lone win came in 1984.
I have a daughter.
Playing a down-on-his-luck country music singer in Tender Mercies.
I think it's certainly some of the best work I've done, and I would challenge anybody to say differently.
2015 brought a 7th Oscar nomination, Best Supporting Actor for The Judge. But Duvall reveled in his time away from Hollywood on a 360-acre Revolutionary War-era farm in rural Virginia with his 4th wife, Argentine actress Luciana Pedraza.
You go day by day and you arrive at being grateful for what you have.
But it's what Robert Duvall gave to his legendary film career that will be his enduring legacy. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Sports broadcaster Mackie Jenner made history in Halifax Saturday night, becoming the first female to call a play-by-play game for a National Lacrosse League match on TSN. CTV's Brianne Foley has her story.
Ian McKay has Buchanan take the shot there. He scores.
That was Mackie Jenner's first goal call on a national broadcast.
Growing up, I didn't even think that this could be a dream that I could chase, because I just didn't think that it was feasible, because there weren't so many women's voices in sports broadcasting.
Lacrosse runs in Jenner's blood, but her venture into the world of broadcasting came after struggles as an athlete.
Came to a point where, dealing with my mental health and some injuries that I'd faced, I just decided to, have enough. And I think there was a period of time where I was really angry at the sport of lacrosse.
Sometimes the path doesn't go the way we expected, and she went through some tough times in college and kind of lost the love for the game a bit. Just watching the game evolve and kind of being around me and what I was doing in the early stages of my career, allowed her to see that there was another path.
Finding a way to love the game again pushes her own boundaries.
You can love the sport for the sport, and so I think that's where the storytelling and then the broadcast really comes from it.
But once it's over, it's going to be something that you'll look back on, and a moment for our entire family that we can all be proud of.
Some waterworks there.
Creating her own moments while showing the next generation of girls anything is possible.
I really look up to her as a coach, as a player. You see her doing this and it kind of really inspires you just all around.
Because even if you don't want to play, you still have, you're still able to be in the community. And I think the community is really great with the whole lacrosse Nova Scotia, lacrosse Canada, all of it. So I think it's really great that Mackie's still in it, and I'd love to be in it if I can.
Jenner has now filled every role on a National Lacrosse League broadcast for TSN, the first woman to do so.
I think especially as females, sometimes we get a bad rep for being outspoken, but that's, I think, what has made me who I am today, and letting myself know that my voice is there and it matters, and to use it.
I'm just so appreciative of everyone that's helped me get here, and I really couldn't have asked for a better game.
For the girls she coaches and those who watch her on a weekly basis, Jenner has become an inspiration and a testament to let girls know that there is always a place in sports for them. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Halifax.
Keep an eye on her. She'll be going far. All right, let's take a look at tonight's primetime lineup. No business report tonight because of the holiday. TSX is closed, so we go right to Kaylin to wrap things up.
Yeah, it's a chilly February evening out here on the weather deck. I have a great picture for you tonight, and this one is coming in from Lower Wedgeport. It was sent in from Jim Clark, and that is an eagle we can see soaring there in front of some gray skies. I want to thank Jim very much for taking the time to share this picture with us. Of course, you can see some snow on the ground there near Lower Wedgeport for tomorrow in the forecast for the area. It's a mix of sun and cloud with the high temperature in the afternoon getting up to around +1, so that's not too bad by mid-February standards. Day planner for tomorrow around the Maritimes. There will be some cloud cover around to start the day. Temperatures as well, a little bit chilly first thing in the morning. There will be some flurries that are making their way towards northern areas of New Brunswick, with those flurries arriving as we make our way into and through Tuesday afternoon. A lot of the rest of the Maritimes for tomorrow, mostly a mix of sun and cloud, a little bit cloudier. Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia, chance of some flurries for both of those locations, but pretty low chance during the day, 30-40% chance. Flurries are expected to become more widespread for the Maritimes Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Let's find out what's coming up on your Morning Atlantic.
Tuesday on your Morning Atlantic, living their best lives.
We'll visit the residents at Parkland at the Common to see how older adults are making the most of their golden years.
Start your morning with us Tuesday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally for us tonight, it was a big weekend for Bobby's Hospice, Atlantic Canada's first end-of-life care centre. It held its gala in St. John. It's the largest fundraiser of the year for the hospice. I had the pleasure of hosting the event again. Longtime supporter Monsignor Brian Sheehan was honored as the 2026 Hospice Hero. Over 2/3 of the care center's $3 million operating budget comes from community donations, and CEO Brad Adams says people have always been generous supporters.
We've been doing this for over 15 years, and it's incredible to see that ongoing support and continued support from Greater St. John. It means we're doing our job well, which is really powerful, and we really love to see how we impact our community.
Since welcoming its first patient in 2010, Bobby's Hospice has served nearly 1,800 people during the final stages of life, and of course, their families. And it was great to see so many familiar faces in the crowd. Truly one of the great events in the Maritimes every year. That's a look at our day here at home. Bruce Frisco will be at the desk at 11:30, and CTV News Atlantic has updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.